up?
Hello everyone and welcome to Rob's Rogues and the Batman universe, and you can tell who this guy is. Of course, it's Batman himself from the Batman Arkham Origins DC Collectibles Series 1 action figure. There's a mouthful for you, depending on when you're watching this video. Could be early in the morning, could be in the evening, who knows. Rob, shut up. This is a figure I was definitely wanting to get once they released the preview images. I thought this figure looked so good, and even just the design from Arkham Origins. I think this is a great looking Batsuit. I love the way it looks in the game. Kind of Nolan-esque, and I think this is a way I hope the people at Warner Brothers are watching and saying, hey, you know that Man of Steel sequel that we're doing? We should do the suit like this. No more black on black suit. I think you could do a gray and black suit and be just fine. Although it kind of sounds like they may use the Batman Noel suit, which isn't that far removed from this. So that just tells me, hey, maybe we're getting a gray and black Batman. Finally. Wouldn't that be so cool? But anyway, all of the same packaging, nothing has changed other than, of course, the figure inside. The only other figure that has different packaging is Bane. With him being a larger figure, they did something different. So I'm not going to read this. If you want to hear it read or just pause the camera and read it for yourself, you can do so, or go back to the previous video and you can see all of it. So what I'm going to do is just open them up. We won't, again, look at the packaging. We've already done that. We'll get right into the figure himself. I cannot wait to get this out of package. All right, I want to show the back of the packaging here real quick. I'm trying to remember in what review it was that I had a figure that had the cape pushed all the way in. They kind of like slit it in the back here. I have seen it's kind of happened for me to try to pull this out. You could risk the plastic kind of scoring the cape and making some these weird grooves in here. As you can tell, Batman's ears, hopefully, are, if you can see that, are pointed through the actual plastic. So I would recommend, as you are opening this figure, be very careful when you do this, but you can kind of see, it's a little, if I get my stupid fingers out of the way, see how there's a little open here? To take your scissors and kind of cut down a little bit, more to kind of open this back panel out, so when you push Batman through, the cape hopefully won't get caught and possibly tear, because this is a really soft cape, which is really cool, but it could be a risk of getting kind of scored or marked up. So I just wanted to point that out as you open your figure. So we'll be back in just a second. All right. Anthony said this. If you watched his video, ODC, that's me, and I'm going to say it right now. I just opened out of package my favorite Batman figure in my whole entire collection. Wow. For all the people that have been saying, gee, if DC Collectibles could just do articulation like Mattel, DC Collectibles would run away with the action figure market. I would never buy another Mattel figure again. Ta-da! Wow. The articulation, I had said in Black Mask, you know, I bet they were kind of afraid to put articulation in there, that it was going to break up, you know, his suit. Maybe on Black Masks, but for Batman, the way this suit is designed, the articulation is hidden, and this sucker is loaded with articulation. I believe this is the first, probably other than the Arkham City Batman that had the extremely articulated Batman, as some of that articulation was a little wonky. I think they really nailed it on this figure. This, hands down, is better than any Mattel Batman that I've had. The only knock that I will give this figure is he has two closed fists. Would have been great if they either had interchangeable fists or at least given us one fist open. If you have any of the other series of Batman figures, you have all of the other gadgets and accessories, and this Batman can't hold any of them. But even though it's closed fists, any of you ACBAers out there are going to absolutely love this figure. Wow, the sculpting is just fan-friggin-tastic. It's got the 5 o'clock shadow stubble going on there. I love the eyes. They got the eyes done very, very well. I don't know. Is he cross-eyed? Try to get in there a little bit closer. Maybe too close. Maybe a touch. But it's really kind of hard to tell. Even the camera's getting in really close. You can kind of see. Maybe it's just the way I've got him positioned. The whites of the eyes show up more than the actual pupils, but this is just done so well. Sorry for being a little shaky being this close. Let's back up here some. I do want to show a shot. They had like this grid texture on the suit and was a little lighter. Here's a picture of it. So I think you can see what I mean by that there was this grid outlook. I'm kind of glad they went away with that. I was a little nervous about like, oh, they're going to make Batman with this like grid lining all over the gray part of the suit, and he doesn't look that way in the game, so I'm glad that maybe that was just their prototype. But wow, this is really good, and I love the soft, pliable cape. Mattel, here's how you do a cape. It's not this hard piece of plastic. It moves, it flows very, very well. The sculpting goes all the way around to the back. You can see all the rivet marks in the suit. I think this is one of my favorite Batman suits. I love the suit in the game. My only complaint with the game, as you play, the suit gets more battle damaged. After you beat the game, you can run around in all the different skins that you have. But if you want to go play in the Arkham Origins suit, or even the Arkham City or Asylum suit, you can't go back to a nice pristine looking suit. You have to play with it battle damage. So that's a discussion for a later topic that we'll have. So now on to the articulation, since I was kind of gushing over it. Batman has all kinds of movement with his head. Now I'm moving everything else in articulation. He can look any which way you want. Left, right, up, down, 360. So you can look down really well. Can look up very good as well. And especially, look at this. There's an ab crunch. A DC Collectibles figure with an ab crunch. Now, I don't remember if Series 4 Arkham City had an ab crunch. I never bought that figure. I didn't see the need, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I got this guy. But his ab crunch, goes back quite a ways here. Let me. So he can totally look up in the air and see somebody getting ready to jump down on top of him or whatever. Or look at the bat wing up in the air. So the ab crunch is very, very good. And he can look down. Maybe it's just beat a criminal to the ground. I love this figure. It's got the ball socket shoulders. Nice. The suit does hinder a little bit of it. But you can get the arm up pretty far. And it goes out. You can see the hinge right there. Does turn at the bicep. Has an elbow, and the wrist rotates. Again, it would have been fantastic. I've never really graded my figures before on Rob's Rogues, but I would give this a 9.99999. If I'm going to give it a perfect 10 if the hands have been open. But still, you can see like the knuckle dusters on there. A little extra light there. Really cool. The gauntlets and the spikes are nice, soft. One of mine was a little bent. So we saw the ab crunch. He does turn at the waist. Very well. Get him in frame. Very cool. The belt's a nice, soft rubber, so it's not going to get in the way or break anything off. The legs are so cool. Look at this, DC Collectibles. When have you seen DC Collectibles have the splits before? Huh? How fantastic is that? and the T-joint is on the inside as opposed to being on the out, so we're not giving up any of the sculpting. I could sit. Now this is big for me right here, being able to get into a seated position. Now his legs don't get as close together. I'll kind of show you what I want to do in just a little bit. So the legs go forward and back. It does turn at the top of the knee or thigh. Double jointed knees. Now this one joint on this leg is really tight, but the other one I could get both joints to move. Look at that. Double jointed knees. DC Collectibles. Again, very, very cool. Turns at the boot, and there's that stupid bug again. Apologize about that. Thought I killed him. And pivots, and has the ankle rocker. A little bit of ankle rocker, but look at the motion in this boot. A very, very articulated figure. Hands down my favorite Batman. I think I've probably said it a couple different times. It is one of those that, you know, there is so much articulation to try and get him to stand because all these bits and pieces are moving and bending and turning. It's fine, cool, but he doesn't have any real problem standing. Zip down to his feet here. You can see his foot is turned up just a little bit here. So it kind of looks like his foot is raised or twisted. I don't know if that's just from him being in the package, or that is how he's sculpted, or if I get him in some type of a pose, maybe this foot is supposed to be up, or maybe it'll be riding on the foot there. So I'll have to really play with the articulation on this figure and see what kind of crazy poses I can get Batman in. What I'm going to do, I will bring up his Arkham City counterpart and we will see how he fares. Here he is with the Arkham City figure, the standard Batman, which would be kind of the standard for the Arkham Asylum figure. The blues are just different color. Which Batman do you like more? This guy. Just in articulation wise, he's standing pretty much normal as he would. Almost look like he's ready for action. This one's kind of like, you want to hug me? I'm right here. This is one of those, if I could have seen in a crystal ball, look how tiny his hand looks here. If I could have seen in a crystal ball, and somebody would have said, Rob, in a year or so, we're going to get a much better Batman figure. Don't buy this one. I wouldn't have. I mean, yeah, it's nice. I don't know if I'm necessarily a completist. I mean, there's a lot of things I do love about this figure. But seeing the two stand side by side, to me, it's almost no contest. If I hadn't bought any of the Arkham figures yet, deciding, okay, you know, I only have enough money for one Batman, which Batman should I get? This guy right here. The faces alone on these two are of night and day. There's probably some customizers out there that could take this head off and put it on this head, and I think it would look so much better. I always thought this face was too small. So I love the look of this figure so much. How many times am I going to say that here? Now, the one Batman says, hey, I'm not over-articulated, I can stand up. There we go. A figure I've been wanting to pose this one with, you could probably guess. Let's get him out of here. I think these two look really, really good together. Would have been great if, you know, Robin had as much as articulation as Batman did. But I think on my shelf, the Arkham City Batman may kind of take a back seat to the Arkham Origins. I'll probably keep Arkham Origins Batman more up front and maybe put Robin and Nightwing kind of, you know, around the Arkham Origins figures. I just think this is a great, great looking figure. Let's see him in a comparison with a couple other figures here. Like we did for Black Mask, here is the Arkham Origins Batman up against the Riddler. Very, very cool. Here's the Mattel Young Justice Batman, which is basically any normal DC UC Batman. It's just the aesthetics are, just a little bit different. But you can see the height sizes. So if you were wondering if the Arkham Origins Batman would be a good stand-in for your Mattel figures, and not necessarily. And one more Batman here is the New 52 All-Stars Batman. So again, you can kind of see the size difference that, you're dealing with here. And again, like we did with Black Mask, here is Deathstroke up against Batman in height size. So you can really tell that the Mattel figure is, smaller. The DC Collectibles and Series 2, I believe, we're getting Deathstroke. So that'll be a really nice for the DC Collectibles to have a proper Deathstroke. But like I said, this is going to go on my DC UC shelf, so that'll be fine there. I did want to show this. This is the 2003 Mattel Batman Batmobile. It's really kind of dusty. I apologize about that. I wanted to see if I could get the Arkham Origins Batman in this cockpit, and it is very, very close to being able to get Batman in here. Who would have thought that I would have had a DC Collectibles figure that could actually set in a Batmobile that's in 6-inch scale? This is one of the few. He could kind of do it. You could take this canopy off. There's no, control panel here. This should come down. Again, it's made for a Mattel figure, but it's really, really close. For nothing else, being able to have a Batmobile that's in size and scale for your 6-inch figures. If I try and latch this thing, I haven't had it out in a while. I'm not going to worry about it right now. But at least you can kind of see Batman with, get the camera up here a little bit, a Batmobile that is in his scale. So if you're thinking about having a Batmobile, something he could just kind of stand by, I recommend this one. I was really, really hoping I could get him in here, but between the cape and everything, I thought about pulling it out through the top and doing it like the 60s TV series. From time to time you'd see the capes kind of flowing out the back, or the Super Friends cartoon series, as it were. But and if nothing else, it's a nice display piece that rather than use like the animated series Batmobile or not Beware the Batman, but the Brave and the Bold Batmobile, this is actually more in the correct size and scale. Alright, kind of in closing here, here are the three figures from the Arkham Origins that I have so far. Of course, we have a Mattel Deathstroke here, and then the two DC Collectibles that I have so far. I'm loving the Arkham Origins game. Matter of fact, right after I shut the camera off, I'm going to go back and play some more of the game. I'm going to, reserve my comments for the Rogue show, as I'm going to probably will end up spoiling some of the stuff of the game. So be advised when you tune in. We don't have an air date yet, but we'll let you know soon. But I think DC Collectibles is off to a fantastic start, and Mattel has actually done a really good job with this Deathstroke. I think this is at least a must-get if you want a nice Deathstroke, maybe to fit in with your DC UC figures if you didn't get the original Deathstroke, or just to have another variant of a Deathstroke. The Mattel Batman, I think, is going to pale in comparison to this Batman, unless you're a completist. If you only want one, hands down, it's going to be this Batman. So far, out of the three figures that I reviewed, at least for Arkham Origins goes, Batman wins hands down. Just the articulation alone and the sculpting together combined in a DC Collectibles figure. I think those of us that know that Mattel has really dropped the ball and saying, I'd like to do DC Collectibles, but I really want more articulation. Well, we've got it right here in this Batman, and they pull off the articulation in Batman so very well. Singly, I think this is my favorite Batman. The Justice League, We Could Be Heroes, Batman New 52 is probably my second favorite Batman. I really like that one from DC Collectibles, but this one edges it out. I think just a little bit more. I love this figure. I don't know how many times I can say that in this review. But that's going to wrap it up for the figures that I have from Arkham Origins. And I don't know how many more I will get, probably until after Christmas. Like I said, got family members, and especially my wife is like, I'd like to get you something Batman oriented, and so I think I'm going to put Bane and the Joker on my Christmas list. But DC Collectibles is knocking it out of the park, and kudos to Mattel. I think they did a solid job again on this Deathstroke. Originally I thought he might be a pass, but seeing a couple other reviews, I thought, you know what, I'm definitely going to pick him up, and I'm very, very glad I did. He'll work very well. So thanks for watching, and if you haven't played Batman Arkham Origins, go out. I really like the game, and tune into a future episode of Rob's Rogues, the Rogue Show, as we'll talk extensively about Batman Arkham Origins. Today we've been taking a look primarily at Batman from Series 1 of Batman Arkham Origins, action figure from DC Collectibles. And as always, this is Rob for Rob's Rogues and the Batman Universe signing off, saying we will see you guys next time.